If you're retired or retiring soon, your biggest risk isn't whether the market averages 8% over 30 years. Your biggest risk is what happens in the first few years after you start taking income. Because in retirement, you're no longer just investing, you're distributing. And when withdrawals collide with a downturn, it can permanently damage the future of your portfolio, even if the market recovers later. That's called sequence of returns risk, and it's one of the most misunderstood retirement landmines. Here's why it matters. When you're working and contributing, market dips can actually help you because you're buying shares cheaper. But in retirement, you're withdrawing. So if the market drops and you still need income, you may be forced to sell investments while they're down. That sell low damage reduces the number of shares you own, and that can make it much harder for your money to recover and last as long as you need it to. People need to understand if you have a 50% loss, you need a 100% gain just to get back to even. Now, for years, many retirees leaned on what people call the 4% rule. That's the idea that if you have $1 million in your portfolio, you withdraw about $40,000 in year one, then increase that amount over time with inflation. But here's the key. It is not guaranteed. It's a planning guideline based on historical market results and assumptions. Results can be very different depending on timing and future returns. So the real question becomes, how do you create income that doesn't depend on the market cooperating, especially early in retirement? This is where fixed annuities and fixed indexed annuities can be incredibly powerful tools. A fixed annuity is built for stability. The insurance company credits interest based on the contract, and it can be converted into predictable income. A fixed indexed annuity, or FIA, is different from being in the stock market. You're not buying shares of the S&P 500. Instead, the index is used as a benchmark to calculate interest credits. And here's the big point retirees care about. In a typical FIA design, if the index is negative for that period, your credited rate can be zero, meaning you don't take a market loss to principal from that index movement. Now, trade-off. Let me say this plainly. FIAs usually limit upside with caps, participation rates, or spreads. So if the market explodes upward, you might not get the full upside. But many retirees are willing to trade some upside to reduce downside uncertainty and to build a more dependable income plan. And that dependable income matters because it helps prevent the number one retiree mistake: selling stocks in a down market just to pay the bills. When you create an income floor, think Social Security, pensions, and potentially annuity income, your investment money can behave like long-term money again because you're not forced to rate it at the worst possible time. And research consistently finds that retirees with more pension-like guaranteed income tend to report higher retirement satisfaction and less financial stress than those relying mostly on drawing from savings. This shows up in studies using health and retirement study data and related research on protected lifetime income. But let me ask you this: has your fee-based advisor ever told you about this or any of the risks in retirement? If not, why? Bottom line, retirement shouldn't feel like a daily argument with the stock market. You don't need every dollar to be max growth. You need your core lifestyle income to be reliable so you can sleep at night and so your plan doesn't collapse because of bad timing. If you're ready to talk about a guaranteed, possibly tax-free retirement, give me a call at 91551-1046. This is educational, and everyone needs to know this.